Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. And today I want to ask you guys a question and basically pose to you whether or not you think that this is a good idea, and if you do, what aspects of it you like, and also, how you would change it if you don't like certain aspects about it. I am kind of keeping it secret for the moment. We're going to see here if we can unlock the potential for both of these characters here, but I want you guys to get thinking about if you were in my position as a content creator, if you had a YouTube channel or whatever, live stream or big Twitter with lots of followers, but you were playing Marvel Future Fight, what do you think would be the #1 thing that the devs could do to, make the community happy? And I just want you to choose one thing, and I don't want you to go crazy and say, like, give everyone 1,000,000 crystals or something stupid like that. Like, I'm not talking about something that they've never done or something that they could never do, that's impossible, that would ruin the game forever. I'm talking about things that are wow, I got time frozen. Things that are definitely possible, and it's just something that you think everyone in the community would get behind. And I don't want to tell you what it is just yet because I want to get you thinking and I want to, make it a bit of a surprise. But it relates to these 5 World Boss Ultimate clears that I'm doing right now. So this one we're doing with Doctor Strange. We're not trying to go for difficulty here. We're just going to go for maximum efficiency, although we're not clearing that quickly. I actually just missed my tier 3 skill. This is pretty poor gameplay as far as the Doctor Strange goes. We're not really getting any all defense down from our strikers. And this is probably the longest it's ever taken me to clear a stage 30 with my raid level and my cards and my build on Doctor Strange. But, you don't always get the fastest runs possible. But let's see what we get from the first run while you guys continue to think about, well, the title of this video really gives it away. But otherwise, there we go. We did get 20 CCF and we did unlock Rachel. So I will sort of reveal my idea. And my idea is a CCF login calendar. And now I have this idea because, on the one hand, I do think that CCF is the #1 bottleneck in the game for all players. Now, different players have different bottlenecks for sure. It's not the #1 bottleneck for all players at all levels, but I think it is the most commonly complained about bottleneck in Marvel Future Fight. And even for veterans, if they don't purchase a lot of packs for real money, I mean, if you spend money on the game, nothing is a bottleneck. But even with pack spending, you can find yourself short on CCF. And so I want to piggyback off of, and I don't want to seem ungrateful, but it was great, the 28-day login calendar that Marvel Future Fight did for a CTP, random CTP dimension chest, and they also did a random Odin's Blessing chest, and they have this 8-week check-in, which is amazing. So, I don't want to sound like I'm not grateful for the existing content that they do give away, but I do want to say that it would be really great if maybe by the end of the year, especially since this year featured so many expensive native tier 2 tier 3s, if Netmarble realized that and recognized that by giving us a login calendar that featured, let's say, 20 CCF every, 4 or 5 days to total, an amount of like 100 or 150 CCF. Again, I'm not sitting here doing the math, trying to figure this all out, and in terms of hard numbers. The people who work at Netmarble can do that, but I wanted to float this idea by you guys. I know you guys were all going to like free stuff, obviously, but that's why I posed the question, and I left quite a bit of a gap between the question and my answer, because I don't think everyone comes up with the same answer. But now that you have your potential answer and then you compare it to what mine was, what do you think? Do you think that would be, because basically the question that I posed to you, what do you think the community would most like if they could get one thing out of the devs? Basically that is my answer to that question. My answer to that question is, I think the community would most resonate with and get hyped for a CCF login calendar. It could be shorter than 28 days. I think 28 days is a really nice one because it also benefits Netmarble because players will log in for 28 days. I'm not doing a very good example of showing how CCF is a bottleneck because I'm up to 35 or 36 CCF on my first 2 playthroughs. So I'm literally getting close to averaging like 80 CCF a day if this is my sort of daily pull for CCF. But for a lot of other players, it is. And I say that not only as the largest content creator, but I'm online all the time reading your feedback, whether it is YouTube comments saying that they don't have enough CCF for tier 3s when I make tier 3 videos, when tier 3s get announced, or when tier 3s get added to the game. People ask me, I don't have enough CCF, what should I do? Should I wait? Should I save up? You know, should I spend it now on a cheaper one because, you know, I only have 750, so I'll get to 800 faster for this one. And those are important questions to ask, and I don't want to take away those important questions that players are asking. I think it's good that Netmarble makes you know, they make CCF a resource that's not that easy to get, but I do think that having, you know, a once a year login calendar for like 150 CCF would actually benefit players in a large way. And it's similar to what they usually do when they add in events post-update, and we're probably going to get one in like a week or two anyways, where you trade in tokens, and one of the things you can trade tokens is for CCF. However, with those events, there's a bit of a difference, and this is why people are going to say, wow, I'm getting so much CCF. This is actually kind of disgusting. We are up to like 54 CCF, I believe. Anyways, you know, people can choose to spend their tokens on something else. We do have a much different token event on right now, and we have the issue with the token event about the Danger Room. I know that, but even with the better token events where CCF is an option, I do know that a lot of players still don't choose CCF because they need other things, whether it's rank up tickets, whether it's Titan component packs, whether it's Essence of Dimension. And I like the fact that there is a choice. I like the fact that players are given a choice as to what they want to invest in. However, I do need to say that having an additional login event where CCF is given for just logging into the game, I think that would drag a lot of that would put a lot of attention on Marvel Future Fight, and that would pull in a lot of players who have recently stopped playing because they feel as though they just cannot keep up. They've fallen too far behind, and the CCF is really the big bottleneck for them. And so that's where this idea comes from, because it benefits new players, of course. It benefits players who are frustrated by their existing CCF drop rates, and it still benefits daily players and veterans and players who spend, because they're just going to get some extra CCF to add to their stash. And man, level 70 really did nothing for Cyclops, which is the sad truth about this run right here. Even with Coulson and Ghost Panther, this damage is ticklish, and not in the right way, not the good kind of ticklish. But yeah, so that's why I think, although it's very similar to the existing token events, I think Netmarble should consider doing a token event without CCF, and rather than just getting rid of the CCF, having it funneled into a, at least for 1 month, having it funneled into a monthly login where you get CCF as a reward. I think this could be a really great thing, and I wanted to pitch it to you guys as the community so that, for one, I can get your feedback on it. If you guys think like I'm totally crazy and I'm out of my mind and it's a bad idea and I should just, you know, Netmarble should just stick to what they're doing, or if you have a better idea, if maybe I'm wrong, even though, I mean, man, I get comments all the time. I get comments on Twitter, I get comments on YouTube, I get comments on Discord about CCF and about how they just don't have enough CCF. They've been playing, you know, and you hear sort of these freak stories, and I don't believe all of them, but I do believe some of them, you know, 5 days without any CCF, 6 days without any CCF. I did make that video where my Alliance member showed his results, but I still think there are some anomalies out there. And so to, you know, have those players, those anomaly players that aren't getting any CCF, and to give them some hope and give them something extra to log in for, on top of the fact that it would just be, I think it would be really hype in the community as an event. Like, man, they're going to be giving away CCF for a login. I think personally that would be dope. I think just saying that out loud, seeing a post up by CM Fragment announcing that, I think that would get a lot of players talking. I think it would bring back players to the game who might have quit recently or might have taken a break, because all you have to do is log in and you get CCF. And even if you don't want to play the other game modes, you log in, you get the CCF, and then maybe you get the itch later on to play again, because you can tier 3 Cyclops, or because you can get another character to tier 3 or whatever. Because even though we don't really need the characters at tier 3 at the moment, I think for a lot of existing content, and for casual players especially, they don't need you know, a ton of tier 3s, and you know, for Danger Room you can just play with someone else's tier 3s. But it's nice, it's fun, and it's something that the whole community gets involved in. You know, I like to, at this point, I even tier 3 characters that I don't necessarily need at all, just because I love to see the community's reaction and the community's engagement with it. And I think that idea holds true for the community itself. I think if they had a login event where everyone was guaranteed to get CCF, because it's a thing, some people just don't choose it from the tokens, or some people, for whatever reason, they forget to get the tokens, and that can sort of fall into the same category of players not logging in and not getting CCF. So I can understand that some people might not like the idea because, you know, they forgot to log in for one day and they lost their their CTP selector, or their CTP chest, sorry, I should say, or they missed something, and so their login was messed up. That's why I suggested at the beginning that the CCF be staggered. Rather than giving the CCF out on the 28th day as the final reward, it would be nice if they gave out a smaller amount of CCF, even like 10 CCF every 3 days, and then you have a total of whatever 100 or 200 CCF given out over the month for those people that log in every single day, and then if you don't, you can still collect a certain amount of CCF. I think that would be really dope, and I think the community would get behind it. I think people would get hype, and they would be like, who are you going to tier 3, and they would talk about it. I know people already talk about it. They ask me who I'm going to tier 3 and why, and even within the community, I know people talk about their tier 3s, and it sort of has it's like a special doll. We have so many Barbies, but you have the Barbies that you chose to go the extra mile on, and man, I don't know if you should choose to go the extra mile on Cyclops unless you really, really love the guy, because he is not impressing me right now. That took 4 minutes with double supports and full strikers, which is brutal. I guess I could have cleaned up the strikers a little bit, but are we going to get CCF? Okay, we didn't get any CCF this time, but we did get a booty box, so we have to pop the booty box. But yeah, it's something that struck me while I was on, sort of a summit here in LA. For those of you that are wondering why I'm not using... This is such a joke. This is such a joke. I got CCF again. What is this? My account is possessed. As soon as I started talking about CCF in the video, Netmarble's slamming my account with CCF. This is not scripted. I'm up to 90. I believe I'm up to 91 CCF in 4 tries. We could literally, with this next run, we could hit 100 CCF if I get lucky enough, which is absolutely absurd. But I just want to get Satana in here, but I was at the summit here checking out some new content that's going to be coming out for other Marvel games. I was invited, really happy to be invited, and I had a lot of fun. But that's something that popped into my head. What can we do, or what can Netmarble do? I don't work for Netmarble, remember? But what can Netmarble do, and what could I sort of encourage them to do that would benefit all players, but would really help out players, especially newer players and players that are intermediate. I think those are the players that I really try to reach a bit more often with my content, and a bit more often with stuff that is helpful, whether it's informative or whether it's like what not to do, because veterans, even if they make mistakes, and even if it's not mistakes that I suggest them to make, like by giving bad advice or whatever, even if they make mistakes on their own, they don't watch any content, they can recover from those mistakes more easily, and they're not punished as much for making mistakes. But intermediate players and newbies especially are punished super hard for making mistakes in Marvel Future Fight. Imagine people whose first tier 3 was Black Panther. I mean, we joke about it, but seriously, imagine if you were one of those people. Your first tier 3 was Ant-Man, your first tier 3 was, Iron Man before he got his rework. I mean, it's good now, but back in the day, at the time, that could have caused people to feel like they don't want to really play the game anymore. And so I do think this CCF login calendar is a really good idea. A lot of other games I know also do login calendars, so it's not really something that is too out of this world, I think, as a suggestion. And then on top of that, in a really good sign possibly of things to come, Netmarble has done a calendar recently for a free Odin's Blessing and a free random CTP. So I think if they do one for like 100 or 150 CCF scattered out over like a month, I think that would be super happy or super hype in the community, and that people would be happy about it. So let me know what you guys think. Apologies for that disgusting display of RNG where I pulled almost 100 CCF in one day. Obviously, I did not expect to do that. I got 0 CCF yesterday, so I figured today would be the same. But yeah, that is my pitch to you guys, a CCF login calendar. Let me know what you guys think of it, and if you like it, let Netmarble know. Maybe tag the video on Twitter or whatever, and we can get the community talking, ask Reddit how they feel about it, and so on and so forth. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me, and of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.